Hi, I'm a nurse from Delaware, or as a lot of you know me, I'm Matt's mom. I'd like to have a conversation with you about prescription drugs. You might wonder why I care so much about this topic. I lost Matt to an overdose of prescription drugs on January 3rd of 2015. Everybody is so worried about heroin, as we should be, but what a lot of people forget is that most people that end up on heroin didn't start that way. Most people started with prescription drugs. 52% of Americans abuse prescription drugs. We have an epidemic going on, and there is an elephant in the room, and everybody forgets about that elephant. 18.1% get their prescription drugs from one doctor. In my state of Delaware, 1% of our prescribing physicians prescribe 25% of the prescription opioids that circulate around my state. That's a really high prescribing for such a small little state. Your kids have the mentality of it's only pills. That's a deadly mentality. Most kids and a lot of parents also think that because they're legal drugs that they're safe. That couldn't be farther from the truth. Just because they're legally prescribed by a physician does not mean that they are not highly addictive. You probably have something in your medicine cabinet right now that your son or daughter could very easily get her hands on and start to use right under your nose, and you wouldn't even know. Most parents and kids, like I said, think that because they're prescribed by a knowing, educated doctor that they're very safe for use. But the statistics are really alarming. I call it the mentality of only pills. First of all, they're not illegal, and that's why people think that they're okay. Second of all, they're, like I said, they're right in family or friends' medicine cabinets. Very, very easy to get their hands on. Also, if they get pulled over or if they get caught, they can claim that they have a script because they are so-called prescription pills. They're safer to use is the mindset than the illegal drugs, heroin and fentanyl. Well, they might be in the very beginning if you take them as prescribed, but we all know that after 7 days on an opioid, your brain and your body start to turn against you. You will need a higher dose than originally prescribed for whatever it was prescribed for to get that same high, that same level of pain-free that you got at the original dose. Physicians lied to us for years about the safety of these drugs. Now we all know that Purdue Pharma had to pay a hefty fine in, I believe it was 2008, when the addictiveness of their drugs finally came to light. But still, we have physicians throughout the country that continue to prescribe these horrible drugs for any type of pain. Back when I was a young nurse, the only people that really got the opioid drugs were those suffering from terminal cancer with intractable cancer pain. Nowadays, they are being prescribed for root canals. They're being prescribed for tonsillectomies just because the FDA, once again, said they were safe to give to children. You know, all I can tell you is I was kind of that mentality also, where I thought that Matt was going to a so-called pain management practice here in Delaware. He suffered a back injury, and that's how he got started on the pills. I thought, okay, these guys know what they're doing. But as the months went on and I saw that the milligrams were not being weaned, that Matt was coming home month after month with 168 pills, 30 milligrams of Percocet, I kind of raised a red flag to Matt, and his mindset was, well, my doctors tell me to take them, so that's what they say and they know what they're doing. So I found that once I went in and spoke to these doctors, they were highly guarded over their prescribing practices, and unfortunately for Matt, they kicked him out of the practice because now his mother was on to their overprescribing, and I believe they were afraid that I was going to report them, which I did to the Delaware Board of Medicine, And once again, they covered their tracks, and they're still prescribing, and Matt's gone. I just want parents to be aware that prescription drugs can kill you as easily as heroin. And as a matter of fact, if you look at the statistics, prescription drugs kill more people than heroin, even to this day. Unfortunately, we still have the mindset that because the doctor says that it's safe and it's okay and you want to be pain-free, you're going to go ahead and take those pills. I just want to caution you at how quickly you can become addicted before you even know it. I've had several professional people have knee surgeries, breast biopsies, and they're giving the same drugs. And within a few days, they called me and said, hey, you know, I'm feeling kind of weird when I don't take these pills, so I really take them because I don't want to feel this way. So it's like, hey, wait a minute. Guess what? You're falling into the trap. Your brain is starting to trick you to think you need these drugs to survive. And that's how our kids get addicted. I saw Matt go from a productive, working individual to someone who lost everything he owned because all he could do to survive was continue to take the drugs. As most of you know, trying to find treatment for opioid addiction, or heroin addiction also, it's like spitting in the wind. Insurance companies don't want to cover it, even though the doctors have created this epidemic. Insurance companies still ignore the fact that our kids need more than 28 to 30 days to 15 days to whatever they think is going to help with the treatment of addiction. It's a joke. Matt was ping-ponged around in several different rehabs here in my state of Delaware, 7 days here, 10 days there. It was a joke. I used to wish that Matt had cancer, because at least with cancer, you have compassion. You have people who care. You have treatment. The doctors and the insurance companies do not turn you away. Unfortunately, when you show up with the disease of addiction, you are shunned. The stigma follows you, whether it's pills or heroin. It really doesn't matter. It just seems like all of a sudden you're a dirty, non-productive, disposable human being now, because unfortunately you listen to your doctor and follow their instructions. So I just want everyone to understand and be very cautious of what you have in your medicine cabinet when you have young children at home, and even for yourselves. Watch what your body is telling you. Be very, very careful. The statistics are alarming. If you look at anything, drugabuse.org has loads of information. And also, you can, just anything you Google, there's so much information out there about drug abuse, and prescription drugs are the elephant in the room. Nobody wants to believe that because they're safe and they were gotten from a doctor that they're not going to kill you. I've only known one boy this entire journey that I've been on for 7 years trying to save my son that started with heroin. And unfortunately for him, it was brought into school and it was on a dare, and he did it, and now he's hooked. But most people, the addiction to opioids creeps in very, very slowly. Before you know it, you're addicted. Your brain and your body have turned against you, and now you have to take pills to survive. That's exactly what happened to Matt. That's not how he wanted to live. He went from worrying about work and paying his bills and keeping his checkbook straight to worrying about how many pills he had left for the day, how he could get more, and where he could get them. Prescription drugs leads to heroin use. So please, I want you to be aware of what's out there, what's in your cabinet, who your kids are spending time with. Talk to their parents. Talk about the elephant in the room. Talk about prescription drugs and the harm they do, because they kill just as bad as heroin is. Heroin kills quickly, but prescription drugs kill you over time before you even know it. Matthew took a dose and he never woke up, and now I live with that for the rest of my life. I try to educate parents because I was completely unaware until the writing was on the wall, and I saw what was happening to Matt. And at that point in time, trying to find help. As you parents know, when you've tried to find help for your addicted children, especially if they're over 18, it's almost impossible. So please, if you take anything from this, please clean out your medicine cabinets, talk to your children, talk to your spouse, talk to your friends. Know who your children are hanging out with. Know what they're doing. And if there is an injury, a sports injury, or any kind of injury where they require any kind of opioid prescription drug, talk to your doctor. Explain to them that you are educated about the addictive properties of these drugs. Don't just take the script and fill it for 30 and give your child 30 pills. You wouldn't allow your dentist or your doctor to give your child heroin. That's exactly what you'd be doing if you give them opioid drugs for a long period of time. So thank you for listening, and I hope I have made a difference in how you think about prescription drugs. Thank you.